TRVL. That's Dtravel. You see that I'm wearing a Dtravel hat. If anyone is not familiar with Dtravel, then do your own research. Dtravel is a decentralized Airbnb without the Airbnb. It's Airbnb without the Airbnb. You can go onto their website. It's a decentralized autonomous organization. It's a DAO. It's all decentralized. It's a decentralized real world network. And if you go to this link, june.com/dtravel-dtravel-network-analytics, you can see the real world network that's growing from the beginning to now. You can see that we now have currently 10,664 host operator signups. On our real world network, we have 5,357 active listings. And this is a number that just keeps on growing. It doesn't drop, it just goes up. We are in 1,206 cities across the world. We are in 139 countries across the world. Not all of them yet, but we will get there. We have 10,664 operator host signups. We have 5,357 listings according to this. Slightly more than what I originally said. You know, it's the same number. This is our cumulative GMV. So $1.34 million. That's how much value that Dtravel has transacted through the real world network, through peer-to-peer vacation rental bookings, and the average booking value is $828. That's the average booking value. This is the lifetime of Dtravel, starting back, although the stats here start in March 23, I can tell you that Dtravel began in August 22 because I was the first property to host on Dtravel. If you search for my name on Google, my name and Dtravel, you can find some articles. Dtravel claims the August the 4th, 2022. Dtravel claims the first short-term rental booking using blockchain and smart contracts. So back in August 22, I hosted the first on-chain transaction at one of my listings hosted by Dtravel in London. This was paid and settled using crypto, using smart contract on-chain, and they came and stayed there for about a week, paid using USDC on the Binance chain. So I hosted the first Dtravel listing, and that came slightly before these analytics show, because you can see here the analytics started in March 23, and so there was a really kind of gentle growth at the beginning, and then it started to take off. As you can see that we've only just begun, really, when you look at our network and you see that we're only 5,000 plus listings. When you compare that to other centralized short vacation rental companies like Airbnb, like Vrbo, or booking.com, you'll know that we have a lot of room for growth. And as long as we just continue growing, then basically you're onto a winner. Anyone who's involved with Dtravel is onto a winner. And I'll explain why, because I don't think people understand the use case for Dtravel. And this is what I've been talking about. You've got people like myself who have their Airbnb business, and we always get repeat guests. We always get people come back, or people who talk to us directly and they want to book our properties because we've been doing it for a long time. Yeah, and everyone is like me. Yeah, everyone has their properties. Who's in the business, everyone has their properties, and everyone's always looking to rent out their properties to whoever comes, really. Now, most people do it for Airbnb and booking.com, and so do I. Okay, so there's no difference between me and anybody else. I'm on Airbnb, I'm on booking.com, and that's where we get most of our traffic. So at the moment, most people, when they're looking to travel, they're looking at Airbnb and booking.com, and that's where they're finding our listings. But what people don't realize is that a lot of the time we get a lot of repeat guests. Yeah, they either come to your property like in London and they're coming back on the business trip, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to save money. And naturally, if they can book directly, especially if they've been to a property for the first time, they can save 15%. And I'm happy to just pass on the saving. I'm not trying to make a quick buck, especially from people who've come and stayed before and who I know are good guests or good travelers, and they'll take care of my property. And so I'm not really in the business of trying to make an extra buck from people who are loyal or people who are coming back. What I'd rather do is pass on the savings and let them have a really really good experience. So I'm just kind of logging in now to my backend, and I just want to show you what I do. And so naturally, when I get repeat guests, they'll message me and they'll say, hey, I'll give you an example. So right now I had a guest and she wanted to stay a little bit longer. So she already booked using booking.com and she wanted to stay a little bit longer, an extra 2 days. Okay. And so I asked her, I said to her, well, how would you like to make the booking for the extra 2 days? Would you like to make the booking and extend it on booking.com? Okay. Or would you like to book it directly? And she said she doesn't mind. And I said, well, let's just do it directly because it's probably going to work out cheaper for you. And lo and behold, I sent her a reservation link. And yesterday she paid using Dtravel. And so she made the original booking on booking.com. She wanted to extend by a couple of extra days. We could have done that through booking.com, but then booking.com would have taken the additional 2 days fees, which is about 20% plus tax. Okay, so instead of doing that, I passed on the savings to her and got her to pay for the extra two days directly. So she ended up paying less, and it made no difference to me at all. And so effectively, we're just cutting out the middleman, and she made a payment using my reservation link, which I sent to her. And then what you get on Telegram is you get a confirmation of that transaction. So here it is. If you go back up on Telegram, you'll see, hold on, where is it? It should be here somewhere. Here it is. New booking processed, direct stay London, hosted by Amir, just process the direct booking. And so these are the use cases which you don't necessarily consider, where you've got people making alterations or you've got guests coming back. They don't want to pay the extra 15% plus tax or 20% plus tax. Sometimes on booking.com, it can go up to 30%. And they will extend or they'll come back, and then they just want to book directly. Now, what happens is that Dtravel processes the booking, and then Dtravel will take a percentage of fees that goes to the DAO, that goes to the decentralized autonomous organization. But also, because we're in the promotion stage at the beginning of our startup, the hosts who are paying the 3% will get back the 3% in TRVL. So I get that money back. That's the promotion. So there's a real use case here, and this is just the beginning of our network. In the future, what we'll get is we'll get a real, a highly populated list of properties. And in the future, what you'll get is you'll get people who won't actually search on Airbnb. They'll just come straight to Dtravel. And so at the moment, because we've only got 5,000 or so listings, naturally when people are searching in some countries there's limited options. And so this is one of the reasons why I'm here in El Salvador, because if you go right now to El Salvador and you do a search for El Salvador, yeah, look, no results for this in this area. And that's a real big problem, because it limits what we need. Is we need like hundreds of properties in every country across the world. That's what we need. So if you can imagine that we're on, how many countries are we in now? Let's have a look again. We're in 139 countries at the moment. And what we need to do is, let me just get the calculator. We need at least 200, I would say, in each country to be taken seriously. At least 200, somewhere between 100 and 200. That means we need about 30,000 listings worldwide, and right now we're at about 5,300. So we need about a 6x increase in our listings to get to a stage where people will just naturally just go onto Dtravel and search for Dtravel for anywhere they want to go in the world, rather than trying to find it elsewhere and then trying to find it on Dtravel. And then above and beyond that, what we need to do is we need to give people an incentive to book on Dtravel directly, and that will happen naturally, because people are always looking to save money. But at the moment, it's like it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation, where you've got people searching but they can't find, or people are looking to book but it's not there. And so we're in that kind of early stage where we're trying to populate our real world network. That's why I'm here in El Salvador. And actually, when you look across Central South America, you see actually we got a lot of work to do. But like I showed you, there is a real use case, and that increases the stats of my properties. And so when I kind of refresh it here, I've got 34 completed bookings now in 3 years, and I have realized earnings still a shade under 65. I can't get it above 65 just yet, but this is real world use case that I'm showing you right now. And people are booking directly, or they're coming back to me, or they're adjusting their reservations, and instead of sending them back to Airbnb or to booking.com, I'm just processing the transaction through Dtravel. Okay. I imagine a future where in the future people would say, oh, I just want to find this accommodation, find me the cheapest accommodation. I'll be searching on an AI, and that's where they're going to find cheap accommodation. And that's when actually we're going to come into our own, when AI actually starts to find people cheap accommodation and uses our search engine to do that. The same accommodation, rather than go on Airbnb, AI will be able to find it cheaper, and they'll actually be using our search engine probably more than anyone else in the future. So we're still early. I think we're quite early, right? If you go to back to the Telegram, you can stay up to date with everything that's happening. So Andrea has been posting, look at this, a new milestone unlocked, over 10,000 nights booked through direct websites powered by Dtravel. Proud to see crypto adoption growing in more travel experiences. Let's spread some love to Dtravel's recent X post. So this is important. Let's share the love. Let's see what it says here. That's a big achievement, like 10,000 room nights booked. That's a big deal. I'm going to print screen that and send it to a friend. Okay. What else is there on Telegram? That's the place to get all the information, if anyone's interested. Let's have a look at the general chat. New booking site activated, new booking processed, new booking processed. So this is quite interesting. Let's see what Ferryman says. Ferry says, good luck, Eric. I love to focus on SMBs. How big is the team currently? What is the runway? Are there any plans for letting the token holders participate more? Yes, really good questions, Ferry. And Andrea says there will be more exciting updates to be posted this week, including milestones, stats, partnerships, and more. We are just preparing everything to share with you ASAP, but our priority this weekend was to give you an update about the price dump, change of administration, and next plans. Radioactive is here talking. Also, any update about Coinbase users? Last week there was also a tweet. Radioactive is back. Let's have a look. Does he say anything else? Here's Eric's response to Ferry. Thank you. Really appreciate the support. Honestly, I would like to say that Eric is the right choice. I've known Eric now for 4 years personally. I've met him and his family and his children in London and in Austin, in Dallas, and in America. And I can't vouch for a better person to take over right now. He's been involved in the operations side of Dtravel basically since Cynthia became the CEO. And he's basically been highly critical, highly pivotal in the real world application succeeding. And I think the biggest success is the real world application. But a lot of people don't realize it. The crypto aside, clearly we've had problems with TRVL and the crypto aspect of Dtravel. Clearly, yeah. Clearly the tokenomics has been a complete and utter flop, and the market hasn't received the idea of the Night Protocol, and some other issues has arisen over the last few years. But one thing I can vouch for is the real world app. The real world app has been growing from strength to strength, and I keep on talking about my usage of the real world application. Yeah, and like I'll keep on talking about it because I think it's just something to celebrate. Yeah, when you're looking at these figures, when I've completed 34 real world bookings and I've turned over $65,000 in real world revenue using Dtravel just through repeat and bookings and alterations and just bookings completely outside of any search engine or even Dtravel search engine, because that's relatively new. This is all kind of repeat customers or customers coming back trying to book directly. And you can see how Dtravel has transformed my business, and it's added some, this is new value coming into my business. Dtravel's made that happen. So you can see that there's value here. And I think Eric has been largely responsible for making this happen. All of this back end and all of this reservations and all of the listings, and this is all Eric. And so I can't vouch for someone higher than him. And I think going forward, it's really important that we support the new leadership. Here he writes, thank you, really appreciate the support. The size of the core team has shifted to reflect our new structure and focus. I expect we'll stay around, whatever this means, about 13 FTE contributors this year. We have a runway to sustain that. One of our near-term goals is for the host-facing product operations to reach self-sustaining revenue, preserving burn, for testing new product initiatives and flywheel initiatives, including ways for TRVL holders to participate more directly. More on that soon. So he answers the question, but he doesn't reveal too much. We've also established direct comms channel with KuCoin, where we're actively working to get the tag removed. Ultimately, the best way to avoid tags like this in the future is to grow awareness and traction from new users, hosts, and long-term holders. We're focused on doing exactly that. New booking process, etc., etc. Okay, DMs. All right. So that's the latest from Telegram. I think this is the real shockwave, isn't it? So we have a new leader. The CEO's gone. Cynthia, who was also a co-founder, is gone. I can tell you that another founder is gone too. So it isn't just Cynthia. Another co-founder's gone. And why is that? Why are all of a sudden these founders leaving? Is it because they no longer believe in Dtravel? No, I don't think so. I think anything can happen. You know, people's real life circumstances can change. You know, people can spend time on a project and it might be the time to move on and the fresh blood and fresh energy, and they can pass on the baton. It doesn't mean anything. I don't think people should read too highly into that. I don't think it's a bad thing, to be honest with you. I think it's probably a really constructive thing to get new eyes and new leadership, and possibly a new direction. When you look at the TRVL token, in the whole of the previous tenure of the leadership, the price has only gone down. Yeah. If you think about it, ever since Cynthia was the leader, the price has dropped 98.8% in value. So I can't see it being a bad thing. I don't necessarily think we're going to go down any further. I think actually it's quite exciting that we're getting a change and a shift. And Eric has already confirmed that with the current tenure, our runway is safe. And so we don't have a problem with, like, even after the price of TRVL has dropped so dramatically, we don't have a runway problem. And actually we have an injection of energy and fresh ideas to turn this project. I wouldn't say turn it around, because I think we're on the right course, at least as far as the real world application is concerned. But I think when it comes to the crypto side, we do need to turn that around. All right. Now, this is the thing. I've got lots of ideas. Yeah, we all have lots of ideas of how to turn this around. No one really knows what's going to happen. Yeah, we can only look at the charts and imagine the future. That's what I try to do. I look at the charts and I'm imagining the future. What am I seeing now on this weekly time frame on TRVL? It's a tricky one, huh? Because it looks really bearish, huh? It looks really bearish. But it does also look quite bullish. And I've said this before. You've got a clear rejection from the high. Okay. But we have put in a high high. So the high high gives us confirmation of a market structure change to bullish. We're in weekly bullish market structure. What does that mean? That means we're putting in higher highs and higher lows. This is our higher low. That's our higher high. That's our range right now as far as lows and highs are concerned. So I'm just going to mark this out. What shall I use? I'll just call it. That's your range high right now. That's your range low, right? So we've got a pretty big range on TRVL, and we're basically dead center, aren't we? Look. If we go down, we could go down another 30%. Are you ready for that? 30%. And then if we go up to range high, we're up 50%. So we're in a really, we're looking at potentially quite big swings in this range as we try to find the bottom here. I have been talking about an inverse head and shoulders pattern. And I think if everyone can go back to the beginning streams, the beginning of July, you'll know that I talked about a left shoulder here, a complicated head here, and a form of right shoulder here. And that's what I'm looking for right now. I'm looking for a right shoulder to be formed right here, right now. Oh, stream is freezing, huh? It could be my problem, actually, Defage. I wonder if the replay will freeze or not, because it could be just live. My laptop is really hot. So short of restarting my stream, I don't know what else to do. Restarting my laptop. I could do that quickly and come back. Shall I do that? Oh, shit. It's loading a mirror. I'm not getting any drop frames. Let me restart my laptop. Let me see if that fixes it. I don't know if I should do this. Let me try. Testing. I'm back. Can you tell me if it's lagging? It doesn't say I'm getting any lag here. So that's the reason why I'm wondering where the lag is coming from. Is it lagging still? Still freezing? Chilly? Deafage? This is not good. All right, I hope it's not freezing. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Deafage in Chile said that it's freezing, so what can I do? All right. Once I get confirmation that it's okay, I'm going to continue. Nothing show. What does it mean, nothing show? Black screen. Why is it black screen? Nothing show. Nothing show. I don't know, Chile. All right, let me just continue anyway. Oh, you see it. Okay, finally. That's good. Maybe my computer needed a restart. All right. So let's just go back to TRVL. So what's happened here is a combination of something bullish and something bearish. You have a bullish weekly higher high. Okay. So this is what I've been talking about since we've been looking to change market structure on the weekly time frame. We put in a lower low here, a lower high here. This is your all-time low, which is another lower low. This was your first higher high. Okay. This became your higher low, and then we just took out the higher high there with another higher high. So we're putting in higher highs, we're putting in higher lows. This is actually bullish. The structure of the market is now bullish. And what happens next? Well, oh, Chile's saying black screen again. The problem is that the weekly time frame candles show a pretty bearish rejection here. Okay, now is that good or bad? Well, on the onset it looks bad, but there are some positive signs, and I'll explain. Okay, first and foremost, when I opened up the Bollinger Band, you'll see on the weekly time frame, you'll see that what's actually happened on the weekly time frame is that we've held the weekly 20 moving average Bollinger Band as support. Do you see that? That is a good sign. So even though what we've actually done last week is quite significant, we've put in a higher high there, and we've held the weekly 20 moving average as support. And every time the price... Oh, he's saying it freezes again. I don't know why it's freezing. I don't know. I'm not getting any drop frames here. Like the stream is all right. I don't know why it's freezing. Could it be my computer because it's hot? My computer is really hot. I can feel it. That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if it's because of my computer. Which is a shame because I'm trying to make videos. So here, if you look at the previous times where the price of this weekly time frame was able to expand, you could see that every single time we had to come back above the weekly 20. Yeah, the weekly 20, see here? That held, and then the price went up. When you hold, that's one of the conditions that is required for the price to go up. Yeah. You can't go up until you flip the weekly 20 into support. And every time you reject, it continues to go down. Okay? And if you have to hold the weekly 20 to go up. If you can't, it will continue to go down. And so we're in a really interesting place here now where we're trying to hold the weekly 20 moving average as support, where we've put in a higher high and we've changed market structure to bullish. Now, I'm seeing an inverse head and shoulders here, and we've just formed the right. Now we're forming the right shoulder. Now this right shoulder can be anything as long as we don't take out that low. Taking out that low is not advisable, and certainly not advisable to take out the all-time low. We kind of have to hold for a higher low for a breakout, and actually right now I would prefer if we can hold it here. Okay, and there's every chance that we can achieve that, just simply because of the way the weekly's closed. It's closed, even though it looks bearish, it's actually quite a nice close because we've only managed to close, we've closed higher than 50% of the previous week's body. We've got a pretty strong support line at the moment around here, and ideally what we want to do is just find support here to go up. Ideally, that's kind of what I'm thinking at the moment. That's kind of what I want to see. We've got an increase in volume on the monthly time frame. I'd rather that be a green candle. I've talked about that, and we have to see how that plays out. The 3-day candle is a bearish engulfing, and we're seeing a little bit of follow through on that. We have to see how that plays out. Let's have a look at the 2-day candles. Yeah, we're seeing a little bit of follow through on the selling, but still we're getting quite heavy absorption here. I like to see absorption. We're getting quite good absorption on the price. I'm just looking at the CCI. We're getting quite good. We're still getting quite strong buying. Okay, that's what I can see. Yeah, look, we're in heavily oversold territory at the moment, and the price is getting nicely absorbed. All right. So what next? Well, let's have a look. I'm just checking some different indicators that I use. You got pretty strong support level at 6620. 6620 is pretty strong support level. Let's have a look at the volume here. back into the local range here. We're above the overall point of control here and the local point of control. You can see that. I'll go on the daily time frame. My time frame. So I was initially talking about finding support back on this monthly level. And that is the point of control. And 618. It's a little bit tricky here, but I'm going to kind of explain to you what I think. So the trouble here is that we're getting quite a strong sell-off, right? We're getting quite heavy accumulation, but we're getting quite a strong sell-off here, and we need the momentum of the sell-off to diminish, and we kind of need it to hit this area full flat. Yeah, we need it to come into this area. We need the momentum to drizzle out, and we need the buying to continue. We need the selling to drop off. Okay, until we see that, it's hard to know exactly where this is going to find support. But my target here, to be honest with you, is this value area low, which kind of coincides with the 618 on this trend base move to the downside. That's really where I'm looking for this to bottom out here. It'd get things a little bit bearish. Be back down at the 768. And that's only if I can't see the point of control offer support. And so that would be my ideal place for the price to find support for a higher low here, to do the right shoulder to go back up and break this inverse head and shoulders to the upside. That's my best place for this. And the reason why is because you have a V-shaped recovery here. That's a V, okay? And naturally, I'll be looking for a 50 fib retrace, which is where we're at now. We're at the 50 fib now. Worst case scenario is 618, and that would take us to the point in control. That's what I want to see next. If this happens, I'll be okay. And then the confirmation would be to reclaim the 50 fib to get back up and to start forming some kind of breakout structure here to the upside. Basically, we're looking for a right shoulder to form here. If we don't get that, then this is your kind of the final. This is what you want. You take the liquidity from there, you find support of the value area low, you put in some volume here, you go right back up, and then you break out like that. Okay, and so you have this kind of higher low forming here, but you're still forming the same idea, which is a right shoulder. It's just that this goes down and then goes right back up. Okay, and you're just range bound here effectively. That's if we lose support here at the point. Ideally, we don't lose support. Ideally, we just hold here, and that would be the best case scenario for a break up. If we hold support and then lose it, we have to go back up and reflip it to go back up. And so we have to see what happens next with where the price is at. And no one can predict that. At the moment, we're range bound in this lower range. We are in bullish market structure. Taking out this low doesn't change market structure. Taking out this low has the potential for changing market structure. But right now, the market structure is bullish on the higher time frame. All right, so we have to see what happens now. I'm not feeling bearish because I think a lot of the news that's being published or posted is bullish. The fundamentals are bullish, everything is bullish. Okay, right now what we're experiencing is some exits because of the news, but that could be it. There might not be any follow through, and what we're seeing is some heavy absorption, and I might just like to see if the price of TRVL can hold this point of control to go up. That would be my best case scenario for TRVL. Otherwise, we're going slightly low, right? And we just have to see what happens there and then as it happens, all right? But I am still optimistic about this inverse head and shoulders. If that plays out, then we have a really nice target of around 3.2 cents back into this overall range. Would be a really nice increase in value if we can break out to the top side. And this would be basically your entry, your right shoulder entry on a market structure change confirmed to bullish on the weekly time frame. But this is really you're coming into the entry now to make this a really nice trade, and you could potentially go from the point of control where we're at now all the way up to the value area high. That's a 321% increase in value from roughly where we are now to my target. If we break out of this inverse head and shoulders to the upside, that would be my target. All right, I don't know if my stream is lagging anymore, but I have to continue and see what happens in the replay. Okay, so if you like this, please like and share. Let's